Well, right there's my setup, about 8 to 10 feet off the ground. This is all buckthorn. I feel like the hunting beast right now, hunting out of this crap. The other night I was right over there in that tree. That tree's just too far back. That big buck was right out in the middle of that grassy opening. If he's where he was last time, he should be killable from right up here. That little buck walked in like right here, so I'm pretty close to that. The wind is in my face going that way. So if any deer come in right here, they probably will end up spotting me because it's pretty wobbly up there. I'm hoping they stay out there in the grass at a good shooting distance, 20 to 30 yards. Well, here we are. Thank God it's windy today. Otherwise I probably wouldn't have got away with all this noise. I had to cut off a few branches to even see towards the grass here. Yeah, if that buck comes out, he's going to be about 35 yards-ish. Definitely in range. I can see just this back end of this grassy area. Up in the other trails, way up, I could overlook the whole area. But I don't know where that small buck and that big one that I'm in here after came from. Like, all of a sudden I looked out there and boom, they were right there by that one buckthorn bush out there. The wind is in my face, like I said. That trail that they come in on is really close to me, so hopefully that small buck or a doe doesn't come in and spook and screw up the hunt, but this is pretty insane. You can see what I'm sitting in. I had to cinch it up between both those because this wasn't big enough. I can get my hand almost around that. And you can see how much the tree moves. So if the wind dies down, I'm gonna have to be really still up here. Otherwise they're gonna see this thing shaking. So hopefully I didn't spook anything out of here already. But you can see right there's my shooting. There's a house right there. But that's the bush that the deer they cross right there between that bush and that brush. Somewhere right in here, and they kind of come this way. And there's ag fields that way, corn, and all that way is all houses. The nearest fields are a long ways away. That's why they all come this way. So I'm hoping, we'll see what happens. saw a giant buck in here in late September. Big 10-pointer. That was probably maybe like 300 yards that way. This is a small public land no one ever hunts. I've never seen a vehicle parked because it's just road parking. There isn't a designated parking lot. It's surrounded by houses. I don't think any people over there hunt people. Anyways, I just found a shed. It might be off that 10-pointer from last year. And I'm right on a point, surrounded by cattails. There's like this little buckthorn point with a few aspens in here. I remember being here, I haven't walked this area for probably 2 or 3 years now. And I'm just getting back in here because I saw that giant buck and I wanted to figure out possibly where he's bedding. Maybe do a bump and dump. If I bump him tonight, I can come back tomorrow morning and try and kill him. He might not even be in the area anymore. But I just figured early October like this, I want to learn this bedding area before late October. Maybe come in here and hunt this once during late October before that buck leaves, if he's bedding in here. Anyways, I'll show you the shed here. It's pretty nice. Just came from that way. There's a heavy trail right here. Let me clean off the camera. It's right up there. When I got in here, I haven't seen a single rub. And I've walked probably 200 yards already from my vehicle. So that's a sign that he's in here during late season. And there's old historical rubs on some of these trees around here, but nothing fresh. Trying to be as quiet as possible. Yeah, right here. There's lots of old rubs, but nothing fresh. You can see the sheds right here. And you can see there's a rub from last year, and there's a rub from many years ago. So there is bucks in here, but I just don't think they're in here too much yet. There's a lot of does in here. I'm thinking stuff comes in here during the rut, and maybe like 1 or 2 deer stay for the winter. Like I said, it's just a small spot surrounded by homes with no hunting pressure. There's probably at any time 10 to a dozen does and fawns in here. I'm trying to see if I recognize this deer, because I'm only about 1.5 miles from home, where we plant all the food plots in our backyard. It's definitely last year's shed. It's in pretty good condition. There's only like one. There's hardly any chew marks at all on it. But it's not really jumping out at me. I don't really recognize him. But I'll have to look at the pictures a little harder. I think that probably is the buck I saw, just judging by the rack. But I really don't know. I don't think it is. That buck was pretty wide, but it could be. I mean, it would make sense. He's probably a 3-year-old here, maybe a 4. I'd make him a 4 or a 5 now. Probably a 3-year-old here. That's a pretty nice shot. Well, I'm gonna leave that here and continue scouting and pick it up on the way out.
This right here is 100% the buck I found a shed to that night down in the marsh. He was a typical 8. You could see it's got like a little tiny nub point right down there at the base, and you can kind of see it on this picture a little bit. And this picture, you can really see it right there on his right side. But yeah, where I found the shed, I'd measured it on OnX, is actually only 3/4 of a mile from our backyard, right where these pictures are taken. So he was a very usual buck come, December and January. He was back there every night in the beans, and we had some corn up too. Just a really wide 8-pointer. And here he was one morning with another buck around 6 o'clock in the morning as it was getting light. That was the only time I've seen him during daylight the whole winter. But yeah, and here he is this year. This is the buck I saw earlier on, a couple weeks or a week or two prior while hunting. He's either a 9 or 10 pointer. This is some grainy footage. You can't really get the best look at what he actually looks like here, but that's definitely him.